Alright, so Max Verstappen is the 2024 Formula 1 World Champion. He was crowned champion in the Las Vegas Grand Prix that was on earlier on today. We knew in truth going into this that Verstappen was going to win the Drivers' World Championship. It was just a matter of when, and because he finished ahead of Lando Norris, he ends up winning the title for the 4th time in a row, an incredible achievement, and he joins the all-time greats, absolutely, if he wasn't there already in some people's minds. But I wanted to look back at this season because it's been such a topsy-turvy season, a season where we've seen, you know, incredible performance and dominance from certain teams at different times during the season. It's been a competitive season, absolutely. I mean, we've had 7 drivers win 2 or more races. We've had 4 different constructors get 1-2 finishes, and we also started the season as well with incredible dominance from Red Bull. But let's have a look at the 5 moments that I think are the most important in the championship, in winning it for Max Verstappen in this video. So I kind of hinted at it there. The first moment is kind of cheating a little bit. I'll just go with the first 7 races, the first run in the championship, the first third of the season roughly, because Max Verstappen won 5 of those opening 7 Grand Prix. The other one he was 2nd place, and the other one he retired due to a mechanical issue in Australia. That run gave him a championship lead that really he never gave up at any point during this championship. You know, the smallest that gap got down to after that was like 40 points, maybe 30 odd points, something like that. So the gap was very much a large one after that. If I had to pick out one moment from it though, it's the final of those 5 wins, the one at Imola, the one at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, where in truth Lando Norris was probably faster than Max Verstappen. He was all over him in the closing stages of that race, but was unable to pass. And the fact that Verstappen held him off during the closing stages of that race meant that instead of Norris gaining 7 points on him, he gained 7 points on Norris, so effectively a 14-point swing. And later down the line, had he not had that 14 points and it went to Lando Norris instead, then it could have been a slightly closer and more nervous championship in the closing stages for Verstappen. I also want to highlight Silverstone as my 2nd moment on this list as well. Now, he may not have won this race. He was very close to doing so. He was chasing down Sir Lewis Hamilton in the closing stages of it. But the fact that he got 2nd place in this race, again, is very impressive in this one. Because in truth, again, I think Lando Norris was probably the fastest car during this race. But because of, you know, a poor strategy, whether it was the team, whether it was the driver, I think Lando Norris ran long in his pit box as well, which also cost him time. You know, because of that, Norris effectively, when they changed tyres, when they went back onto the dry tyres, Norris was on the wrong compound of Pirelli tyre, and because of that, he didn't really have a hope in hell. And Verstappen getting that 2nd place, seeing it home, when really he was looking like 5th best at the absolute best. I mean, he was being challenged for, you know, for 5th place, I think it was, by the Ferraris early on before the rain came. He was being challenged for 5th place by, I think it was Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari. So again, getting a 2nd place, a strong finish, and gaining points on his rival Lando Norris was massive in that race. It was absolutely huge. Again, may not have won it, but a very positive race for him for sure. Next up, let's head to COTA. Let's head to the United States Grand Prix, because for a long time in between Silverstone and this race, the McLarens were really good. They were genuinely the fastest car on the grid by some distance, in my opinion. They'd won some races, they'd looked not as good in other ones, but overall they were the fastest package. But the United States Grand Prix for me was a very key one for Max Verstappen in 2 ways, because him getting the win in the sprint race, the way that he did as well, the decisive way that he did, took the lead from the start, was very impressive. That was his first win of any kind since, I think, the Austrian Grand Prix sprint. He hadn't won a Grand Prix since what was it, Spain, I think. Yeah, it was Spain. It was a long time. Obviously he didn't manage to do that there. That would come later. But the fact that he won the sprint really gave this team confidence, and the fact as well that he made Lando Norris resort to the measure of, you know, overtaking him off the circuit, and Norris getting that penalty, and Verstappen knowing the rules as well and knowing exactly how to put Norris in a position where if he did pass, he'd get a penalty, and where most of the time he wouldn't pass. Norris ran out of patience, made the mistake. His team backed him up, said he did the right thing, but unfortunately it was the wrong thing. And again, with that 5-second penalty, Max Verstappen did finish ahead of Lando Norris and increase the gap, not only in the sprint but in the Grand Prix race too. The 4th moment I want to talk about, Sao Paulo. Now, of course, this is going to be talked about for years to come. The fact that he came from all the way back in P17, he was so annoyed after Q2. He was fuming that he got caught out by the red flag. He qualified 12th, started 17th. The day before that as well, in the sprint, he was given a penalty for going too quickly, and he finished down in 4th place instead of 3rd because of that time penalty he got post-race. At Sao Paulo, incredible though, to come from 17th to win. Yes, there was a little tiny bit of good fortune in there in the sense that there was the red flag when it came out, there was the safety car when it came out, but Max Verstappen gambled and he won, and he'd certainly won. And I think even without that, given the pace of the car, he probably would have caught George Russell and Lando Norris and passed them. He was on another level. He was passing people into parts of the track where no one else could do it. He was absolutely incredible, and it's going to rightfully go down as one of the all-time best wet weather drives, alongside his drive as well in Brazil in 2016. But for me, this was even more impressive, to come all the way back from that position and win. You know, not many drivers have won from that far down on the grid. I think even the likes of Sir Lewis Hamilton, they've only won from all the way back down in 16th, so that's another record that he's got there, Verstappen, another accolade. And it increased his gap in the championship to Lando Norris, and it very much felt like after that, you know what, it's done. He's going to win the Drivers' Championship. And the final moment, of course, is Las Vegas, where he did win the championship. It was a decent drive for him. He was, you know, he was a long way off of George Russell in 2nd place. He was the only person that was within like 10 seconds of him for a while. His Red Bull car was not the fastest around this track. He was eventually overtaken by Hamilton and Sainz and then Charles Leclerc, but he knew what he had to do. He knew all he had to do was finish ahead of Lando Norris and he would be champion. And that's what he did, and that's what happened. A very measured, controlled, mature drive from him, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, a 5th place is not his best result. You won't be happy with that. But he wins the championship with 2 rounds to go. And you can't say the guy doesn't deserve it. You can't, because he's just been the standout, most impressive driver throughout this entire season for me, bar none. I can't think of anybody else who's done as good of a job as him. And the fact that he was winning so often when his car was the best, he was always converting those opportunities, and the fact that he was getting strong podiums, strong top 5 finishes, even when his car wasn't the best, like in Las Vegas, that is what won him the championship. Consistently top 5s. Incredible performance from him, absolutely fantastic. And the consistency of the car as well, the RB20, obviously not as fast as the RB19, but the consistency of it, only one mechanical issue I think all season, wasn't it? And just for Australia, that was it. So yeah, there we go guys. What was the most impressive moment for you from Max Verstappen from his championship year in 2024? Let us know in the comments below, and of course keep it subscribed to the F1Chronicle.com to see much more content on the world of Formula 1 just like this. See you soon guys, have a good one.